Hey there, this is a quick look at my most recent custom design of Lego locomotive. This is something that I designed and built from scratch live over on Twitch over the course of, I think it was 2, maybe 3 sessions. This is not based on any real world locomotive, though there are a number of locomotives out there, or have been a number of locomotives around the world that have had similar looks to them. But the genesis of this one, actually, this idea actually came about during my previous locomotive build, the black and red one, where I was dealing with different things to do with bogies, and in that case, it was 3-axle bogies, and having to make one of the axles slide back and forth. And while I was just messing with all those axles, I thought, what if I just did a locomotive that's all axles? Just as many wheels as can fit, possibly, as can physically fit under the chassis, under the frame. And this is what I ended up with as a design. So this has a 9-volt motor in the center of it, which, you know, is just kind of a preformed thing. There's not much you can really do with that. And then these are just standard axles with a little bit of build in between. And for an overall design, I went for a symmetrical road switcher design, like a light to medium road switcher, but full width on the hoods. And I would like to think of this in universe as a battery electric vehicle. So no onboard internal combustion power, except maybe, I don't know, maybe a range extender, but then I don't have any exhaust around here at all. So just from the design with the full width and everything, requiring that you have platforms to be able to access it and do maintenance other than from the front, which, you know, front or back, which you can't really do all that much from. Battery electric just kind of makes the most sense to me. Now, the things that I like about this most are, one, just a technique that I've not used before for a little bit of window frame, just to get a little extra shape in there. And then also kind of following along with what I had done with my previous MOC, shifting axles. This one has a shifting bogie in order to get around shorter or narrower and tighter Lego standard rail turns. So when I put it into a full curve like this, you may notice that the center bogie, the powered one, is just offset a little bit to one side. What I had originally done that could have worked was hinge the front and rear bogies off the center one. The geometry actually worked for that, but this works a little bit better because it reduces the amount of overhang and also allows me to build the whole thing lower. I didn't want it to look too tall and too beefy. I didn't want it to compete with my other mainline locomotives for the appearance of size. And then you can see over here how the offset appears on the other side, on the outside of the curve. It can be a lot worse than that. It's very difficult to get a realistic look for a large locomotive, or one that has a lot of axles like this, on such a tight turn, but this is the only way to really get away with that. I'd only wanted to use a single powered bogie there, and that allows me to put the forced extended wheelbase, the long wheelbase of that powered bogie in the center where it's symmetrical front to back, rather than having a big powered one over here and then something short, you know, relatively narrow here. Wanted to keep everything relatively compact. And this ultimately is just able to slide. It's just able to slide. It's also able to rock a little bit front to back because of the extra gap in there. It's a little bit out of system what Lego does or did for their train setups, and they do that for their unpowered bogie toppers as well. You can see this can kind of flop around a little bit. That's important for going over surface irregularities. But yeah, the whole thing is able to slide back and forth. Don't worry about the red tape on the underside, but it's able to slide back and forth on kind of a cartridge under there, which is held in place well enough. But there you can really see there's a lot of room that this can move back and forth, but it doesn't need that much. It only needs about half of that motion. There is a figure inside the cab. I think you can kind of see he's facing towards the right with a hard hat on, but you can't really see it because of the use. You can't see it that well because of the use of the dark colored kind of tinted windows. As of the time of the recording of this video, a fair amount of my layout is blocked, so I can't show you this going around the full loop or anything like that. The full freight loop, but it does work, and it is intended to be more of a switcher sort of thing. At some point, I might just have it run some very short trains around, but for now, this is it. I wanted to show you the whole thing quickly all together. You see all the major details, all the major features and everything, without having to go through the whole video on demand of the hours and hours and hours and hours of designing and building this thing from scratch over on Twitch. But I will continue to build more stuff when I come up with more ideas and try to stream as much of it as possible on Twitch indeed. Thanks for watching for now, and I'll talk to you again soon.